Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Food for Thought, a webinar series brought to you by Sailthrough and Liveclicker. And today we're featuring Andrew Lim of RevZilla and Catherine Seaton from Windsor. Excited about the discussion today that we're going to have with the two of you. But first, before we dive in, I want to talk a little bit about food for thought, whether it's lunchtime where you are, you're having breakfast, possibly on the West Coast, or sitting down for dinner in Europe. We feel like this is a great way to get some snackable content from leading marketers in this space, offering guidance, advice, best practices, and really a look inside how they are managing marketing today, some of their recommendations for how to possibly be augmenting your program, specifically focused on email marketing. So we're going to do a little bit of introductions to everybody as folks are coming on the line. As I said, my name is Jason Grunberg, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing for CM Group. I've been with the organization for just over 6 years and am completely obsessed with email, personalization, everything having to do with retail marketing as well as media and publishing, and excited to be introducing you to these fine marketers today. Catherine, why don't we kick things off with you, where you can tell us a little bit about who you are, Windsor, and your role.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Catherine Seaton. Happy to be with you today. I have been in marketing for about 20 years, really started email marketing back in 2004. So I've been doing this for a little while. Most of my career has been at a combination of brick and mortar and e-com, so Gap, Harbor Freight Tools, Torrid, now at Windsor. I'm really excited to be talking to everybody.
Thanks, Catherine. Andrew?
Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Lim. I'm the Director of Retention Marketing for RevZilla, which is part of the Komodo Group. And I've been with RevZilla and Komodo for about 5 years. Prior to that, I was in the agency world. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. Looking forward to what you have to take us through. Before we get started, just want to remind everybody that the session is being recorded and you're going to receive a copy of the webinar after today's event. Also want to remind you that this is meant to be interactive. So please chime in with any questions that you have in the toolbar over on the right. We are going to answer as many questions as we possibly can towards the end of today's webinar. So please don't be shy with questions that have to relate to either of these brands, what you see on these slides, or if there's any questions that you have not related specifically to what Andrew and Catherine go through, please feel free to type those in. We'll make sure we get to those at the end. Before we kick things off with Andrew, I want to introduce you a little bit to CM Group so that you have an understanding as to how that relates to Sailthrough and Liveclicker. So what you'll see on the next slide is a little bit of a summary of CM Group. And we are the world's largest portfolio of email marketing solutions. We have over globally 70,000 customers. We have solutions for mass market and very specific niche markets such as retail and e-commerce. We have offices in every single region of the world, and we are, if you know of any scale, marketers, anybody that might be relevant for us, we'd love to meet them, and please point them directly to us. You can see here on the right that, again, there are a multitude of brands that are within the CM Group family, making us that largest portfolio of email solutions, with all of these products both focus exclusively on email marketing and email personalization. That's really how Sailthrough and Liveclicker came together for this Food for Thought series. Both of these technologies are known for personalization, what they do and how they do it, unique to each of those. And I'm excited for Andrew to share his stories of how RevZilla and Andrew have been working with Sailthrough, and Catherine sharing stories about how she and Windsor have been working specifically with Liveclicker. On the next slide, there's a bit more information about both of these products, but I want to skip over this and get us directly into content with Andrew, but specifically calling out that while we are really focused on kind of peer-led content in webinars such as today, both Sailthrough and Liveclicker have been called out on G2 Crowd in 2020, Sailthrough for being a top 50 marketing product, and Liveclicker for being a standout and high performer in the personalization engine category. If you have any questions about either of these organizations, please feel free to reach out to me anytime at the email address you see in your bottom left-hand corner jgrunberg@sailthrough.com. And I'm happy to tell you more about how Sailthrough works with organizations like Textile Fashion Group, Thrive Market, Rent the Runway, RevZilla, other leading fashion retailers, and how Liveclicker is working with organizations like Ulta Beauty, Chico's, Torrid, and certainly Windsor. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to Andrew for him to introduce us to RevZilla and talk a little bit about your focus on triggered messaging that you put in the organization. So Andrew, take it away.
Thanks, Jason. So yeah, like I said, I work for RevZilla. RevZilla is a part of the Komodo family of brands. So RevZilla.com is one of the world's largest retailers of online motorcycle apparel and parts. We've been around since 2007, and about 3 years ago, we joined forces with Cycle Gear, which gave us a brick and mortar presence with almost 150 stores across the US. And then very recently, actually just 90 days ago, we acquired J&P Cycles, so we are now a three-headed monster in the motorcycle space. Like I said in my intro, I've been with the company for close to 5 years and have really been overseeing all email marketing and CRM marketing for now these three brands. So at the start of this year, we put together sort of an initiative grid, a roadmap for our CRM and retention marketing teams, putting into 3 pillars. We're really focused on honing in and getting personalized experiences to all of our different customer types. So within our space, customers really identify based on how they ride. So a dirt bike rider is very different than someone who rides Harley, who's very different from somebody who goes to a racetrack and uses a sport bike. So using interest data, browse data, purchase data, it's the emails team to really drill into that and make our experiences super tailored based on the type of rider that you are. Additionally, RevZilla has a really strong content arm. We have a YouTube channel, a blog or magazine called Common Tread that garners millions of page views a month. And it's been our recent initiative to really integrate all of that rich content into our email marketing and marketing at large. In the past, we've sort of separated church and state with content and commerce, and now we're really starting to lean into not everyone's always going to want to buy all the time. So what can we do to really enhance the experience, supplement our brand relationship with our customers with this deep archive of content that we have? And lastly, where can we find ways and places to scale personalization and find other avenues to get those recommendations in front of our customers? So things like transactional emails, different trays on our website. We want to take the experience that email has built as far as our campaigns and batch and blast emails. How do we take that technology, that strategy, and apply it to other marketing channels? So that's really what we're focusing right now and for the rest of the year. So a little on our marketing stack. Obviously, we use Sailthrough for our email service provider, but we also use BlueConic as our customer data platform. Similar to GA or Google Analytics, BlueConic sits on top of our website and it ingests all of our users' behavioral data and allows us to build segments that we can pass to other tools. So we actually siphon a lot of information from BlueConic into Sailthrough to build really rich, concise segments and lists. Snowflake is sort of our data warehouse for everything. We have data coming in from all different places. Snowflake cleans up and organizes that and then helps to pipe into other tools, again, like Sailthrough and BlueConic. Click sits on top of Snowflake and is our data visualization tool. We use it to identify trends, to see how our sites are performing. It's really our main reporting suite as a business. Google Analytics has been with us since the start and is really, how we monitor what our customers are doing on our websites. And then Certona is currently running our on-site product recommendations. So the main reason I'm here to talk to you today is about RevZilla's triggered email program. So as of last summer, we've really began to shift our focus away from batch and blast email campaigns to triggered messaging. And a huge credit goes out to Bill Pierce on my team, who's just been great at really building this ecosystem. We've really moved away from about like 98% of our email marketing being just batch and blast the same list twice a week when I first started RevZilla 5 years ago, to 40% of our email revenue being attributed to automated experiences. So this has been at the forefront of our marketing efforts. And as you can see by some of these numbers, ever since we made the investment into triggered email marketing, we've seen exponential returns. It's, everyone likes to talk about email marketing is all about the right message at the right time to the right person. And that's what triggered is to us. So when people are going onto the site and they're raising their hand, they're looking at something, they're adding something to their cart, those are all little data signals that tell us we need to send this person a message and it needs to be relevant based on that action. So putting that into practice has been all about growing this ecosystem that I talked about. So we mainly use Lifecycle Optimizer, which is a tool in the Sail-Through suite that's basically a sort of drip series tree chart that allows you to check different actions that a user takes, and then if they say add something to their cart, yes, then they'd get one series. If they didn't add something to their cart, but they change the profile attribute in their account, that would be a different stream. So all of our automation lives in Lifecycle Optimizer and allows us to really easily manipulate experiences and iterate. As I'll talk about later, we have built hundreds of these flows, each with V2, V3, V4, V5. We've been iterating a ton on all of our different flows. So like this slide says, we have almost 180 active flows, 80 of which are dedicated to abandoned browse. So a customer looks at a certain product category, a certain product, a certain brand, and that tells Lifecycle Optimizer it's time to send that person an email and reinforce that experience. 16 of these flows are riding style flows. So if someone goes into their account and they tell us that they're a dirt bike rider, or that they have a Harley, or that they're into sport bikes, that's going to trigger a series as well. And we have explicit and implicit flows for this type of experience. So whether a person's actually going to their profile and telling us that data point about themselves, or they're doing things on our site that indicate that they're that type of rider, we're going to send them that series regardless. We also have bike manufacturer flows, because the type of bike you have is very relevant to your shopping experience and allows us to tell you what type of parts fit that bike. So that's another profile attribute that someone updates or changes, and we have email series dedicated to it. And then of course we have welcome series, abandoned cart, sort of the boilerplate trigger series as well. So at a high level, the abandonment strategy or sort of hierarchy for us is all about the different product categories that we offer, our top performing brands, and then we've also used triggers as a way to give new life to batch and blast one-off campaigns, right? Our designers spend a ton of time and put a bunch of effort into these beautiful campaigns that in the past we send once and then they disappear forever, right? Like we're building these miniature websites week in, week out, and people might only see it once, if that. So what we've started to do is we take really successful batch and blast campaigns, we see what products, what brands, what price points are within that, and then we build sort of nets within our Lifecycle Optimizer suites, or flows, excuse me, to use those as triggers. So this Trailblazer template right here, if someone looked at that helmet or those boots, they're going to get that campaign whether they saw it when it first went out or it's 6 months after the fact. So in addition to those types of collections, we're also focused on our top performing products and really niche curated collections that we want to reward someone who's gotten that deep into our site and show them, hey, in the past we've built campaigns around this, and here's some additional content to support your experience. So drilling further into that, one of our most successful automations is around motorcycle helmets. So it's our top performing category as a business, so it gets tons of traffic. So we wanted to dedicate a lot of time, resources, and effort into this series. We've iterated a bunch of different times over the past year, and we've got to a place where it now accounts for over 20% of our abandoned browse revenue. Basically, a person comes to our website, and if they look at any page 3 or more times that has helmet in the URL, and they've spent at least a minute on our site, they've qualified for this helmet abandoned browse flow. There's 6 emails, 1 email a day for 6 days, and it basically gives you everything you need to know to make an educated purchase. So you can shop by size, you can look at different helmets by type, you can see what other customers are saying in terms of reviews and what our best sellers are. And what we've found is that this gives us a way higher conversion rate than just constantly sending batch and blast emails about helmets. Yes, it's our #1 category. Yes, people are constantly browsing those. But what's been more effective is using our batch and blast emails to drive people to product pages so that they can then hopefully trip a wire and activate one of these flows. Like I mentioned here in this last bullet, we typically see conversion rate peak on days 1 and 6. So what that tells us is we're catching 2 different types of people. The people who came to the site and were ready to make a purchase, or people that are really ingesting that content that we've given them over those past 6 days, and it's helping them make a more informed purchase. Looking ahead, we've, as I mentioned, almost 180 flows. It's now our job to go back and sort of audit and optimize some of these templates that may have been on sale through for close to 2 years now. In addition to that, we found a lot of success with those VAR changes that I mentioned. So when someone changes something in their profile, they add a new bike to their garage, they tell us that they're a dirt bike rider and also a sport bike rider, we want to look for other opportunities where a person is giving us information and where we can trigger email experiences off of that. Like I mentioned, the helmet series being 6 emails long, we want to start doing that with other key product categories. And we also want to start collaborating with our merchandising team more effectively so that we're pinning products, we're influencing a little bit of the algorithm so that we can sort of make sure that more profitable brands and products are finding their way into feeds, and sort of aligning our goals with our merchandising team's goals. And lastly, we really want to work on top of funnel activation. So something that we recently started spinning up is when someone clicks a certain product type in an email, that click itself, instead of browsing to certain pages and waiting for that site experience to trip the wire, now all you have to do is click something in an email, and that's going to set off a new flow. So a little bit why we use Sailthrough and sort of what we like about it. The proprietary recommendation engine is really the main reason why we partnered with them back in 2016. At the time, they were one of the best ESPs that were doing that, and it just made sense for us as a business with a really niche consideration purchase lifecycle to have those relevant recommendations at the forefront of our email marketing. And for all these data points and trigger activations that I've talked about, it's really important that our tech team can easily access Sailthrough and set up custom API events, and that it can play nicely with our other tools. So that was another thing that really helped, pave the way for a lot of these experiences. We have a great team. Our customer success management, Sarah, and before her, Priya, have been great at Sailthrough. And we've had a voice and a seat at the table where we've asked for things or complained about things, and we've seen it added to the roadmap and seen robust features added time and time again that really help benefit our business. So they've been great partners in that sense.
Andrew, thank you so much for that, and certainly appreciate the nod to the strong partnership play, not just providing a strong technology for you and the team to be using. There were a few questions coming while you're speaking. We're going to hold those to the end. Again, a reminder for anybody that has questions that you want to ask about browse abandonment, you want to ask about triggered marketing and triggered strategy, please get this in and we'll make sure that Andrew's able to address them as we go. Catherine, excited to hear from you. So I'm going to turn things over to you. Andrew, thanks so much once again. Catherine, take it away.
Great, thanks. Will you please go to the next slide? So I just thought I'd start off really quickly with a little bit of background about Windsor. We were founded in 1937, started as a retail store for women's fashion, and have grown to where we are today with a little over 225 stores throughout the US. Very occasion-driven business, as you can see, kind of down across the bottom, very, very active within kind of the macro influencer social community as well. If you'll hit the next slide, please. So looking at our tech stack, we use ListTrack for all of our email campaigns. We partner with Liveclicker for all of our real-time email personalization. Aptos is our customer data platform. Shopify is e-commerce. Google Analytics is what we use for all of our user insights. And then Certona is our on-site product recommendations. So why Liveclicker? I thought I would start with why Liveclicker and kind of the challenge that we were facing. We really had two kind of big challenges. One, we have 225 stores and we want to be able to personalize content for customers based on what store they shop at. And two, we are fast fashion and are continually flowing new product. And so there is a constant flow of inventory that we need to stay up with. And so the solution for us in partnering with Liveclicker was really about enabling us to efficiently manage that volume of work and be able to personalize the message as much as we can. So we built a roadmap at the start. We signed our contract with them in November of last year. And if you look at the chart on the right, you can see that we were live within a couple of weeks with our first Liveclicker set, the live map, which is really important for us because of our store base. And then subsequently continue to roll out new functionality pieces. And I would say what has made our relationship with Liveclicker really successful is one, having the roadmap, because there are a lot of widgets and functionality within it, and really kind of laying out and prioritizing which ones we wanted to roll out first and which ones would have the biggest impact on the business. And then partnering with Liveclicker to make sure that we had continual ongoing training as we were rolling those out. And that's enabled us to move through very quickly kind of their suite of widgets and incorporate those into our emails on a daily basis. If you go to the next slide, thank you. You can go one more. So this first use case is around really enabling us to update content in an email after the email has been sent. I think you've probably, if you've been in email, you've all experienced this. You've hit send on an email and then something has changed and you want to go back in and you want to change it and you can't. The email's been delivered. This particular tool with Liveclicker enables you to take a specific space within the email and change that content out at any given time after the email has been sent. So one of the ways we've done that is with COVID-19 and the situation continuing to rapidly change, we wanted to be able to update information for our customers as the status change, as we close stores, as we change promotions on our site. So it's been really easy for us to efficiently maintain that if a customer is going back into that block. The next one, please. This is around promo updates. This is another really great example of where you want to change things while most customers and most clicks on an email come within the day that the email is sent. If you look back through your click history, you will see that customers will still be opening emails up to 2 or 3 weeks after that email has been sent. And so we use the same functionality to enable us to switch out what the promo story is and let the customer know that while that promotion has expired, we have new offers for them and are able to drive them through to the website where that sits. Next slide, please. Another example here is of the live map. We use this in our welcome series, and we use it primarily to introduce our e-commerce customers to our store base. A lot of customers shop with us for the first time online, and they aren't aware that there's a Windsor store just around the corner for them. So we feature their 3 closest stores within a 100-mile radius. And the great thing about Liveclicker is that the data that is pulled up is launched when the person opens the email. So no matter where they're at, when they open the email, the stores that they're going to see are the 3 stores that are closest to them at that moment in time. And if they come back and open that email a week later and they're someplace else, that map is going to update to the locations that are near them at that time. This next example for us that we use, again, is driving customers in store, and where we use it on e-com is when you get past ship cutoff. Once you've hit kind of your standard ship cutoff and you move into an expedited shipping scenario, customers have a couple of concerns. One, expedited shipping is more expensive. 2, they're worried about being able to get their order in time. And so what we do is we utilize this to let them know that there is a store near them and they can still go in store to purchase that outfit same day for their event that night. Next, please. This is similar to that, we have a very last minute shopper within our customer base. For New Year's Eve, our two biggest e-commerce days of the retail days of the year happen on the 30th and the 31st of December. And that is our New Year's Eve business. She is literally waiting until the 30th or the 31st to buy her New Year's Eve outfit, and she goes in store. She has that confidence that she can go in, get the dress, get the bags, get the shoes, and go hit the party that night. And similar to that, if she lives in New York but is in Vegas for a bachelorette party, that same day when she's there with her girlfriends, she's going to be going out and shopping for that outfit for that night. And so having this enables us to be able to give her that map of that store when she's in Vegas, so that she can go and shop for her outfit same day. Next, please. Looking at Triggered, one of the touches that we have in our welcome series is a complete your profile. And one of the data points that we ask a customer for is their birthday, so that we can send them a special offer on their birthday. And so what we have underneath that ask is a widget. It's called Live Scrape, and it basically pulls in the top 6 items within our birthday shop category on our website. And so earlier, when I was speaking to how we're constantly having a flow of new inventory, whether it's your horoscope sign for that month and you're going from Scorpio to Gemini to Leo. I have those totally backwards. I know I don't know the order of the signs, but it enables us to constantly keep relevant content in the email without us having to actually go in and touch the email creative. It takes bandwidth and workload off of our creative team and off of our email team both, and being able to keep the content fresh without having to touch the series. If you go to the next slide, another example is in that actual birthday offer. So we send her an offer that goes out about 3 to 4 weeks before her birthday. That's, you know, hey babe, you've got a birthday coming up. Here's a special offer for you. And again, we want to make sure that we're speaking to her with the most relevant seasonal content. So in the summertime, that might be all about crop tops and a cute baseball cap. And in the wintertime, we might be going a little bit more long sleeve or with a little moto jacket. So this enables us to, again, keep that content fresh, pull it straight in off of our website without having to touch the email creative. Next slide, please. Another thing that's really important to us as a brand is engaging our customers. We have a pretty young customer who's very tech savvy. She's very active on social, and she's very event and occasion driven. And so this add to calendar functionality is huge. We use it across all of our store events, whether it's store openings, an influencer visit that we may be having at store, a product launch if we're maybe launching our swim shop for the summer. When we send out an email to let her know that that event is coming up, we can give her this functionality to add to calendar. And what's great about that is that once she's added it into her calendar, she gets the automated calendar reminders that are in there, and we don't even have to send an email to her to have that reminder pop. It's a reminder that automatically pops up on her phone. An example of this where we've been using it more recently is in IG Lives. With COVID-19 and everybody staying home, our customer has been on social a lot more. And so we've been doing a lot of IG Lives with a lot of our different influencers, and we've been utilizing email to let her know about the IG Live schedule, and then letting her add that to her calendar so that she doesn't forget when the live is happening and can join us there. In this use case, in our welcome series, one of our touches is inviting our customer to join our community. And so what we speak to her about in this is how to tag us in content on Instagram and get entered to be featured, to win a gift card. And then we also speak to her about our blog. We have a blog. We typically put out 3 or 4 new blog posts every week. It's all current seasonal fashion content, whether it's how-tos, must-haves for your closet, how-to-wears, fashion trends. And so we, again, use this content scrape within the series so that it's pulling in the most recent blog post without us having to go in and actually touch the email and update that content for us. Next slide, please. This one is all about engaging the customer as well. Video is huge for us in fashion. A lot of times the customer wants to see movement. She wants to see how the dress is going to fit, how it's going to flow when she's walking. She's going to want to see the back view. And video really enables us to kind of bring that product to life for her, and enabling her to be able to see that movement in email without having to click through someplace else to get that content delivered. Has really driven up our click-through rates within those emails because she's able to see it. It gets her much more interested in the product and the shop, and then she's clicking through to shop with us. Next, and that's it. Questions?
All right, Catherine, thank you so much. All right, there have been a few questions that have come in. The first one, I'll actually point to both of you, and Catherine, we can start with you. This relates to the size of your teams, how many people are actually working on email, and what specific capabilities you have in-house, and what are capabilities that you might outsource or use through freelance or consultancy.
Sure. So at Windsor, we are definitely an in-house shop. Our creative team and our marketing teams are all in-house. We don't outsource anything. Within the CRM email team specifically, we have one email specialist who is responsible for setting up all of the sends across marketing, trigger, transactional. And then we have a senior manager over CRM who's leading the team. And we have an analyst who's really responsible for digging into the data, building the segments, and really helps out on kind of the journey side.
Yeah, and same goes for RevZilla. Everything's in-house. We have a team of 4, that, including myself, that are responsible for retention and CRM. And then if you wrap in JMP and our design teams, that extrapolates out to about 10 to 12 people that are involved in email on a recurring basis.
Okay, great, thank you. Catherine, one of the things that you and I had been talking about prior to today was the ability that Liveclicker, how Liveclicker has helped your team with scale and efficiency. And I know that's a lot of what you focus on in the first section, but we have a question in here that relates to personalization, like the perception that you need more resources and it's more time intensive to be personalizing. And I'm wondering what your commentary on that would be to somebody who's maybe found that previously, how a tool like Liveclicker is helping.
Yeah, I would give 2 pieces of advice. One, I would definitely start with a roadmap and really understand what options are available and do your grid of level of effort and impact to the business, and find your low level of effort, high impact to the business pieces to really focus on that side of it. And then as you're going through your development, start with those pieces first. For us, we focused on triggers. So triggered emails, very similar, I think, Andrew, to probably what you guys focus on, and automated content updates. Those were the 2 key pieces for us, where if we could get a lot of triggers built out with a lot of automated content updates where we didn't have to touch it, that really enabled us to focus more on kind of day-to-day marketing and enabled us to be personalized and relevant for different customers, whether it's a customer who's only shopping in store, a customer who came to us for the first time online, and still deliver the right content and the right message to that person without having a huge team.
Okay, thank you. Andrew, this question is for you about specifically how you are triggering abandoned browse at the category level, and wondering if you could talk a little bit about specifically how you're doing that in Sailthrough.
Yeah, so we do that one of 2 ways right now. Basically, if that category is contained in the URL, so like helmet, jacket, boot, glove, etc. That's one way we capture it. We also have in our sort of hierarchy of pages a like top level browse category page. That would be a URL specific trigger. So if someone navigates to that page but then doesn't actually dive deeper into a specific product, we're going to use that URL to trigger the abandoned browse experience for that. we lose our host?
I'm gonna jump in here. This is Julie Miller, the event marketing manager for Sail Through. I think Jason is having some tech difficulties, but we do have a question here for Andrew that just came in. It's, how did you test out batch and blast into automated triggers to prove the concept to the business internally?
Sure, that's a really good question. And I don't want to misconstrue that we do still send batch and blast emails, but as far as making that case, we did a lot of A/B testing with hold and control. So take what you would send as a trigger and test that against what you would send as a batch and blast to the same audience, or test that within a segmented audience, right? And so you can kind of glean like, well, the conversion rate was X amount higher when we sent, you know, a tailored email to this group versus sending something that's a little more generic. And frankly, we did a lot by hand. Like, yes, we lean on Sail Through heavily for recommendations and personalization, but if you need to prove out that personalization is going to work for your business, find people that are interested in a certain product or brand and hand code an email for them, send that to them and test it against, you know, the batch and blast email they would have otherwise gotten and compare the results. I would be willing to bet that the tailored version that you made is going to yield higher results. So that would sort of help to start make your business case.
Andrew, thanks for that. And Julie, thanks for jumping in. I'm having a little bit of Wi-Fi challenges at home. But in any case, Catherine, we have a question that's coming for you.
It's a mystery.
The suspense is killing me.
I know.
Hey, this is
Change for
Julie.
your organization.
Hey, this is Julie again. I'm gonna jump back in with another question. So curious to hear what has been the biggest change in your business over the past month, and how are you marketing differently as a result? This can go for either of you, but maybe we start with Catherine.
Sure. A couple of things have been really significant for us. One, our customer is traditionally very occasion driven, and there aren't a lot of occasions going on right now. She's not going to festivals. She's not going to bachelorette parties. She's not going out for date night on Friday night. And so we've had to really rethink our entire messaging story, and really, we spent a lot of time talking to our customers and understanding what are they doing, how are they spending their time, what do they want to hear from us. We've sent out some surveys to really help us understand what they're looking for on that. The other thing that has dramatically shifted is we have a leaner team just overarching across marketing and creative, and so we've had to really focus on efficiency from that perspective. And then the last piece that I would say is our product mix in terms of what she's purchasing right now has really changed. She's not buying prom dresses and club dresses. She's really much more into kind of cozy, comfy, casual, everyday. And so we've really had to dig into the data and follow those trends really closely and understand that piece of it. And then the last thing I would just throw out there, and this is all data related, is we are definitely being more promotional than we traditionally have been as a business. And so we have kind of created this really deep dive promo analysis where we're looking not just at conversion rate and AOV and margin, but we're actually digging into what categories is she purchasing from during which types of promos, so that we're really understanding all of the levers we have, and we're understanding what our inventory mix is and trying to understand what are we trying to drive top line versus bottom line, what product category do we want to move at what margin rate, and then really make sure we're dialing in from a promotional cadence on that side to get as close to that as we can. So it's definitely been a lot. I think there's been a lot of moving pieces to keep on track of, and I would say dig into the data. Data is your friend.
Yeah, it was a similar story for us as well. Our customers weren't buying that luxury want item. They were really focused on that need item. Maybe, they were going to do some maintenance projects in their garage on their bike versus actually going out and riding. So price point changed, product category changed, and we basically blew up our promotional calendars for March and April and started from scratch. Instead of monthly planning meetings, we were doing daily planning meetings, and we were really trying to be as nimble as humanly possible, looking at what products and pages were performing well the day before that, and really trying to spin things up in real time so that we could be as adaptable as possible to what people were shopping for, because we knew that the customer life cycle had shifted and changed overnight. So we really tried to do our best to not only, to Catherine's point, follow the data, but also internally shake up processes and meetings so that we could, be quick and reactive as things were changing.
Great, and that we've hit on all of the questions that have come in from attendees. So I guess we can just wrap up, but I just want to thank everyone for joining, and apologies for the tech issues. I know Jason is thanking you all as well. Big thank you to Catherine and Andrew for your time and insights. If you're interested in more tips and best practices and guidance both for Sailthrough and Liveclicker, we have these new guides available for you. Please visit sailthrough.com and liveclicker.com to find these resources designed to help retail and e-commerce organizations navigate the current climate. We will also be following up with a post-event email, which will include the slides from today's webinar and the recording as well. So just big thanks again to our panelists, and we hope to see you all at the next one.
Thanks. Stay safe.